Hello everyone, welcome to Fine Slice. Let's decorate some cupcakes. Today we'll be working with these 3 piping tips. A French star piping tip, 1M tip and a petal tip. Fill the piping bag with the choice of your frosting. Twist the top in your index finger. This gives a good grip. Now let's start piping. First let's make a swirl. Make a dot with the frosting, keeping the pressure. Go around the dot. The frosting should be touching the dot from all the sides. This gives a beautiful swirl. Maintain the pressure until the end. Then release the pressure and swiftly pull the bag away. You can watch my previous video and practice with me. Next we'll make some stars. Hold the bag perpendicular to your surface. Give one squeeze on the bag. Release the pressure and pull away. The rope border, as it's named, is my favorite. Here you will slightly overlap the frosting on the previous swirl and continue likewise until the end. Let's work with the French star piping tip. This is an open star tip with many spikes in it. Same as before, keeping equal pressure, we made the swirl, a cluster of stars and the rope border. I have made the same design for both the tips, but the looks are so different. You can decide which you want, which you like on your cupcakes, and go ahead with the frosting. But before that, we have one more tip to work with. This is a teardrop petal tip. Keep the broad end to the bottom and the narrow end towards the top. Press the back and wiggle your wrist to form this beautiful wavy effect. You can do the same without wiggling your wrist and form neat petals. Next, hold the piping tip straight to the surface and make a zigzag pattern. Now you have an idea of how these will look, so let's bring them all together on the cupcake. For the first cupcake, I'll make 2 small tight swirls in the middle, tightly touching each other but not overlapping. Then on one side, I'll make a zigzag pattern with the petal tip, the broad end towards the bottom and the narrow tip towards the top. On the other side, I'll be using the French star tip and make a cluster of stars. For the second cupcake, I chose to do 3 swirls. You will notice that I maintained equal pressure on the bag, releasing the same amount of frosting until I was done with all the 3 swirls. Then I completed the design by making stars in between these swirls. This third cupcake has to be my favorite design because I'm using 2 of my besties here, the petal and the rope border. Taking the broader end and placing it to the base and the pointed end to the top, squeezing the frosting and leaning it over like a circle. Starting again from slightly below the previous petal, you will notice hardly any movements of the hand. Now it's up to you if you want to stop here, but I will pipe a second layer, squeezing firmly up and down, lifting just a little bit. Then taking the French star tip, I made a small rosette, and the second rosette I slightly overlapped the previous one and continued so, making a rope border. The next one, I kept it pretty simple for you to practice. A nice tight swirl with a French star tip. Always remember, squeeze, maintaining the pressure, stop squeezing and pull away swiftly. Next, I wanted to show you how the reverse rope borders look put together when we go in opposite directions, and of course using 2 different piping tips. Even though we didn't make this in the start, I didn't want to leave out the shell design. It's very simple to do with very less hand movements. Squeeze out the frosting, move the piping tip up and again down, repeatedly going up and down, squeezing the same amount of frosting. Then make a small rosette in the center and finish the design with a few petals on the side. For the last design, we'll squeeze dollops of frosting and form a star border. Hold the bag perpendicular to the surface and squeeze, release the pressure and swiftly pull away. Make a swirl to fill in the center cap. Before applying the silver luster, we need the frosting to firm up. Make a thick paste of silver luster powder and rose water. Take it on a brush and dab it on the edges where you want it to shine. Don't drag the brush over the frosting. You will notice I'm just slightly touching the brush. During the process, if the frosting is catching on your brush, keep them to chill in the freezer for a couple of minutes before starting again. And as a final touch, I have adorned the cupcakes with some silver beads, and they were looking as beautiful as they were to eat. Of course, you have the recipe for the cupcakes and the frosting on my channel. I hope you give them a try, practice with me and stay connected as I have a few more videos on cupcake piping coming out in the following weeks. So see you again. Until then, bye.